back to my channel, and if this is your first time with us, welcome. It's so nice to have you. Today I'm going to be doing a collaboration with Katie and Family. Today I'm going to be talking to you about dealing with society as a young mom. First of all, I want to go ahead and point out that this video is not going to be about contraception or ways to avoid pregnancy. That's not what this video is. This video is basically lessons I have learned based on my experiences as a young mom. Right now I'm 25 years old, so I'm not necessarily a young mom, but at one time I was. I had my first son at 20 years old, and that was a major learning experience for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you guys about what I learned. I'll just go ahead and say that when I got pregnant with my first son, I was 19 years old and the situation was not the best. My boyfriend and I, he's now my husband, but we were living with his dad, and we weren't like out on our own yet, and we were in no way ready or prepared to have a child. But regardless, in the beginning we were really happy and we were excited and everything was great, but things took a turn for the worst. We ended up breaking up in my first trimester, and we did not get back together until the end of my third trimester, and that was honestly the worst time of my entire life. It was very hard. I ended up moving back in with my mom, and I was working part-time. I wasn't making a lot of money, and I was very sick. I had the worst morning sickness you could ever imagine. I was dehydrated, I was losing weight, it was just terrible. But that's a whole nother video. This video I'm going to talk about how I dealt with the criticism and the abundance of advice I got from everyone around me. I can remember I tried to stay home as much as I could when I was pregnant with my first son. I didn't like being out in public. I felt embarrassed. I was always alone. I pretty much lost all of my friends because at that point none of my friends were pregnant or had children, and none of them really wanted to hang out with the pregnant girl because I couldn't party and I couldn't do the things that they were doing. So I ended up losing a lot of friends. It's really sad. I don't like to think about it, but that's the truth. I dealt with a lot of criticism from a lot of people, and can I just say that being called the preggo or the pregnant one or fatso is not a nice way to refer to a pregnant woman. And I hear it all the time. People talking to other people and people talking to me when I was pregnant with my sons. Nobody likes to be called that. That's not cute and it's not funny. It really hurt my feelings when people would call me names when I was pregnant. I've already felt sick and I already felt unattractive. I don't need you calling me names. After my first son, Gavin, was born, I got a ton of backlash for not breastfeeding. I chose to bottle feed, just personal preference, my own personal reasons. I'm not gonna get into it, but that's what I chose, and that just apparently didn't make everyone happy. So I got a lot of criticism for that, and since then I have learned that you just need to take what people say with a grain of salt, because when it comes to your children, you know what's best. That is as long as you have their best interests in mind, and I know that there are a lot of moms out there that do not have the best interest of their children at mind. If you guys hear a lot of background noise, it's because I got a baby over here and I got a dog over here and I got another kid in the bedroom. There's stuff going on all around me, sorry about that. After Gavin was born, I still was very self-conscious about my body. I had got tons of stretch marks and I gained a lot of weight, and I just wasn't happy with myself, and it was making me depressed. And at this point my now husband and I were back together, and I was staying at home and he was working, and we just didn't have a lot of money, and I felt bad about that because I wasn't working. But daycare at the time was not an option because daycare is expensive. So when Gavin turned a year old, I decided it was time to go back to work, and that was great. It was really nice to be contributing, and it was really nice to get away and talk to adults and kind of, you know, pull my own weight when it came to our financial issues. Young mothers are constantly judged because they are an easy target for criticism. That's just how it is. People think that because you're young, there is no way you could possibly know how to care for a little human being, and that is completely untrue. Motherly instincts are a real thing, and they do kick in. For most people, some people they don't, but in cases like that, it's okay to take advice and ask questions. We got a fussy one on our hands. It's okay to ask questions, it's okay to take advice, and don't feel embarrassed if you're asking what you feel might be an obvious question. I forgot to burp Gavin when he was born. I forgot that you had to do that. I did. And someone said, aren't you gonna burp him? And I'm like, oh yeah. Maybe that's why he has gas all the time and he's always crying. But yeah, it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to not know everything. Looking back on my first pregnancy, there are definitely a lot of things that I would have done differently. Some things that I would have changed. I would have just lost the drama. There was so much drama with my first pregnancy, and I should have just let things be, and I shouldn't have worried about things. I just should have taken care of myself a lot better than I did. When I was pregnant with my first son, I did not take care of myself. I basically woke up, went to work, came home, and took sleeping pills so that I could go to sleep as soon as I got home. I dealt with some major depression, and I never talked about it to my doctor, and I never talked about it to anybody. And I definitely should have. I could have had some help, and I could have, you know, dealt with things a lot better than I did. I would have also tried not to depend on others as much as I did. I basically depended on other people for everything. A place to live. I was working, but I wasn't making hardly any money. But I was completely dependent on my mom and my husband, my boyfriend at the time, and his family. It was just, and I hated it. I hated depending on other people. I hated being dependent. I've always been an independent person, and it just killed me to have to ask for things. I should have tried harder to be more independent. I also would have tried to stress less about what people said and thought about me. Gosh, people were so judgmental, and they said the cruelest things, and I shouldn't have let it get to me as much as it did. I became basically a turtle, and I only came out to go to work, and I would go back in my shell, and I was so depressed, and it had a lot to do with what other people would think of me if I was out in public, or if I was out, you know, hanging out with people. And I was afraid that people would think I was a bad mom because I was out doing things when I should have been, you know, at home preparing for the baby or whatever. I just was so concerned with how other people thought of me, and that is ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. No one needs that in their life. You don't need to worry and stress about how you appear to other people. Which brings me to another point. Don't go poor trying to look rich. When you're a young mom, 90% of the time, you don't have tons of money to spend on yourself or a baby. Your baby is not going to look back when he's 20 some years old and say, my mom got me the most expensive baby monitor that you could ever buy, and I was just so lucky. They're not gonna remember that. They're not. You don't have to have everything top of the line, brand new clothes. The majority of my kids' clothes are used. Like I'm really thrifty person and I like to save money, so I buy used clothes. I don't buy, you know, clothes with holes in them or faded. I buy nice clothes for a nice price, and that is okay. People understand that when you're a mom, you don't have an endless supply of money, especially if you're buying diapers and formula and all of that. It's okay not to have the best of everything, and it's okay to go in public not looking like a supermodel. When I drop my son off at school in the morning, I look like a hobo. He looks great. His hair's done and he's got clean clothes on and he's, you know, perfect, but I look like a bum. That's just how it goes sometimes, and that's all right. And those of you that only have one child right now, you'll be happy to know that the second time around, everything gets so much easier. You know what to expect, you know what to do. I mean, everything just comes back naturally to you. It's like riding a bike. There are 4 years between my sons, and there was so much less stress and so much less anxiety with my second son, and now I can just enjoy him instead of being so caught up and consumed in what other people think and how other people feel about what I'm doing. If my kids are happy and healthy and smiling, that's all that matters to me. And when it comes to losing your friends when you get pregnant and when you have kids, don't stress about that either, because those people that left you and just stopped caring about you because you were pregnant, they probably weren't your friends in the first place anyway. A true friend will stick by you and help you out and just enjoy your presence whether you're pregnant or not, and invite you to things whether they think you can go or not. And it's just one of those things that if you lose a bunch of friends, find new friends. Find friends that have kids and that understand how it is to be a mom and not always be able to go out every night and party. I mean, it's okay to get a babysitter and go out and have some fun every once in a while. Everybody needs a break. That's all right. Don't stress about it. Just live your life and be happy. Do what makes you happy and do what makes your kids happy. I want to thank everyone for watching. Please go over to Katie's channel and check out what advice she has for young mothers that are dealing with society and judgment and all of that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.